himself, the serpent, and he owns all the earth. And I'm going a little more than what I thought, but it's good to understand all these things. So the the earth is came under the control of the Satan. The moment, see, one simple thing, how many things happened? Death has come, and God has become an orphan, and then devil has become the master of the human beings, and he owns the earth also, because earth was given basically to the man to control it. But because he was controlled by the master. So everything that Adam owned, which is earth, went to be owned by the devil. So anyway, the main point for our purposes today is you do not have to do anything, but the war is declared on you, the spiritual warfare we are talking. So that is the main thing today. But if you want me to dwell on the story, we can dwell. But that's all I wanted to say today, to lay the foundation for the spiritual warfare. And then other thing is, if you read, that verse where you remember reading, she will have a birth, give a son, the woman. There will be enmity between the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent. You remember that verse? Yeah, that means God is promising. Man has fallen, right? Man has fallen and perishing from the God's purposes. Death has come. Now death is come on the Adam and Eve. As we already talked, there is a spiritual death and a physical death. People say he did not die, Adam, but he died slowly. But spiritually, he was immediately dead, because immediately God has driven him out of the Garden of Eden. There is no more fellowship between God and man. And after that, God never came to Adam. Remember? Like he was. So the spiritual death has happened already, but physical death happened slowly. Adam lives the 900 plus years, 950, like that, something like that. But death was not there before. But once death entered Adam's life, he started to age. And this aging business also was not intended to come on man. The wrinkles and the decay of the body came with the death, and that is how the body has to deteriorate, because it is now going in the opposite direction God has meant it to go. And one day, because of the death, it has to die, and it dies, and it goes back to the dust. Remember, Adam means earth, the dust, because Adam was created from the dust, and to the dust or earth he will go back. If they use the Jewish language, Ish and Isha, it's good to remember, that explains better how Adam came from Eve. But anyway, the other thing is, this also is the greatest love story, Adam and Eve. You see, God is testing. Remember, we were talking about it, and you also said why God doesn't know. The testing is there. And God is testing Adam and Eve. Say, Eve ate the fruit, right? And she gave it to him also to eat. At that point, he could have refused the eating the fruit from the Eve. Are you there? Yeah, he could have refused, but he did not refuse. You know why? Because there are two people. Yeah, he was, and then the point I was going to say is, there are two people for him to make a choice. Adam, I'm talking. God is on one side, Adam is on one, Eve is on one side, his wife. So he could have chosen God, and he could have chosen Eve, but he loved Eve more than he loved God. So he chose to die with Eve. That is why he ate the forbidden fruit. But say, that is the greatest love story. You see it? The love, his love was torn actually between God and the Eve, but ultimately he chose to die with the Eve rather than to live with God. Say, if he has chosen to God instead of Eve, God would have made another woman, a better woman for him, and had given life, and God would have, Adam would have fulfilled God's original purpose for his life, and Eve would have perished, with the death and whatever consequences that came. But Adam could not tolerate, could not think of it, Eve perishing without him. So he chose death with Eve instead of life with God. And God, in effect, became an orphan. You see that? Because his own children disowned him. at that point. Yeah. So, and even though the children disobeyed God, but because they are His children, they are His offspring, He did not let them perish like that. He made a promise. That was the verse. The woman would conceive, and enmity between her offspring and the devil's offspring, and the offspring of the woman would crush the head of the serpent. That is talking about the promise. That's the coming of Jesus, the promise that God made way back in the Garden of Eden. So God did not leave them, Adam and Eve, alone, even though they fell down. But God has already promised that He would send His Son Jesus Christ to deliver the man from the clutches of the devil and from the clutches of the death. It's a long plan. That's the Bible. And another thing is, because the devil has stolen the blessing, the God's blessing from Adam and Eve, only a man could take it back from the devil, the blessing, the dominion of the earth and the conquering of the death. And God can take it. God can just smash the devil and take everything back from the devil, right? Because God is omnipotent, but He would not do that. Because there are spiritual laws that God has put in operation in the universe, and the laws He put in operation in the universe, He obeys them, just like you and me. There are physical laws, there are chemistry laws, there are some other lot of laws in the biology and the medicine. Those laws, right? So like that, there are spiritual laws, and God obeys those laws. Even though He is the supreme being, even though He is the most powerful being, even though He made those laws, He obeys them. That's the beauty with God, So those laws are meant for us to obey and to live. So I think that would be good for today, Abraham. Now even though we do not do anything to provoke the devil, he willfully will come and mess with our lives. He has declared war, on all Christians, so to speak. So he wants to snatch you from the God's purposes for your life. He wants to defeat God's purposes for plans for your life. He wants to destroy you. You can ask, what will he get by doing that? He won't get nothing. He wants you to be destroyed, and he wants your soul. He doesn't want you to go be with God, in the heaven. He wants you to go to be in hell with him. Let me throw another thing. Hell was created for devil. It was not created for man to go there. God never intended man to go to the hell. But any man that is going to the hell is going because of his own volition. You can ask at this point, how does he will? Not making a choice is also a choice. In other words, if the people don't make Jesus as God, they are already making a choice that devil is their God, and then they will go there. Because as we already talked, it's a free will business. Nobody is forcing anybody, right? So I think that is good for today, So you have any more questions? Yeah, I mean, if I put too much on the head, that's good. So memorize on that.